Great to have you with us here on Yes. Bob Lorenz along with Jack Curry and John Heyman. And, of course, the big news of the day. The winter meetings usually wrap up kind of quietly with the Rule 5 draft, but the Angels landing those two big free agents. When I heard the Pujols news, I was absolutely stunned, Jack.
Yeah, the Rule 5 draft got pushed aside very quickly when the Angels decided they were going to spend about $330 million to get Pujols and to get C.J. Wilson. We all knew they were in on C.J. Wilson, but the fact that they were able to come in and basically steal Pujols away from the St. Louis Cardinals, I think a lot of people were walking around here stunned today. You have to give the Angels a lot of credit, and Artie Moreno, he has finished second, I believe, too many times for his liking to try and get big free agents. He finishes first in a big way today.
John, I guess that's what makes it more surprising is the fact that he's never come up with these kinds of dollars for these kinds of free agents lately.
Yeah, he's a second-place finisher, as Jack said. That's been his M.O. throughout his career. Mark Teixeira didn't quite get done, and many others. And this time he did it with a big one, reportedly $254 million. A lot of money. They really stole the show from the Miami Marlins. It's just been a very strange winter meetings with the Yankees and Red Sox. I can't tell which one thinks they're poor between the Yankees and the Red Sox. And here we have a team that didn't like to spend and a team that was supposedly very poor for the last decade or 2 decades, really.
And we talked about Moreno finishing first, John, but I think we're both wrong, actually, because the Marlins did make bigger offers to both guys. There's a report out there that they offered more to Pujols, and they had a 6-year offer on the table for Wilson, but there was something about going to the Angels that appealed more to both Pujols and Wilson. With Wilson, it's a chance to go home. With Pujols, I believe he probably thinks that there's a better opportunity to win there, add to his legacy now. This has to be a stunning day in St. Louis, though. I've sat on this show multiple times and said, I don't think there's any way this guy leaves St. Louis. I was wrong, and I know I'm not the only one who was wrong.
And we kind of figured, John, it would take a bigger offer to blow them away, so maybe they were just that much higher above the Cardinals where Pujols had to look at it and say, business decision, there's too much money to be left on the table.
You know, I was hearing from people who are friendly with Pujols, not necessarily confidants maybe, but that he would have to get $40 million more to leave St. Louis. But as we talk now with more people, I think he was a little annoyed with how things went down with St. Louis. He saw Matt Holliday get $17 million a year. He was offered $22 million a year. Now, Matt Holliday's a good player, but, you know, in the grand scheme of things, in a capitalist system, he probably should get double what Matt Holliday gets, or more than double. So supposedly he was annoyed about that, and I think he was annoyed generally about the treatment, the way the Cardinals went about this negotiation, where they were at about $200 million, and they came here and really only raised it a couple of $1 million. In fact, the AV looks like it was lower, unless we're mistaken here. It looked like it was $22 million going in, now $21 million. So I think by the end he was a little bit ticked off about the situation with the Cardinals.
All right, we'll talk more about Albert Pujols and the deal with the Angels throughout the show, but the Angels landing another big free agent in C.J. Wilson, and Jack had a chance to catch up with Wilson, who was here in Dallas to kind of close out negotiations, and he asked him why he felt Anaheim was the right move.
There's so many things. They offered, you know, a chance to play with great other pitchers, you know, with a great offense, a great defense, great manager. So, you know, it's not like I'm stepping into a situation that's unknown. You know, I mean, they're obviously every year for the last couple of years they've been a first or second place team. They're very committed to winning, and obviously with the situation with signing Albert, I mean, it's going to be an unbelievable team to play for now.
Now, you said the Rangers kind of forced your hand because their offer wasn't really near what the Angels offered, but then you also had a better offer from the Marlins. You still decided, though, that the Angels were where you wanted to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Marlins, Miami and L.A. are two great choices. You know, it's kind of like if New York was in the mix, then that would be a great choice, too. New York wasn't in the mix. I was kind of surprised by that. But, you know, everything changes by the hour in the winter meetings, you know, and when I landed last night, I didn't know what team I was going to play for. The Marlins were looking like the favorite, and then the Angels kind of came in and you know, surprised everybody, including me, and it gave me a chance to go back.
With you and Albert now on the Angels, you think the power, the balance has changed in the AL, especially AL West?
Well, you have to think that way, you know. I mean, you have to think that, you know, the addition by subtraction thing as well. Like, they're subtracting from the Rangers, you know, with me. So the gap closes a little bit there. Then the gap, you know, closes a little bit more with me actually going to their team. And then with Albert, obviously, like, you know, he could put a team over the top all by himself.
And then last question, you said New York would have been something that would have been attractive to you, but you were surprised they really didn't get in it too heavily.
I lived in the Lower East Side last offseason. I love New York. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to play. Great players there, great fans. But, you know, they just weren't feeling it for whatever reason. you know, I mean, they were on my list. They were a place that I would have gone for sure, because who wouldn't want to be a Yankee, you know?
Well, C.J. Wilson has had 2 very productive regular seasons his last 2 years for the Rangers. 16 wins in each of those years, coming off a season in which his ERA was below 3 in the regular season. Let's just talk about that acquisition and the fact that he felt that this was a good fit, and it strengthens not only the Angels, but hurts the Rangers.
Well, it definitely does. It's addition by subtraction. This is a guy who was at the top of the rotation for Texas. I never thought he was an ace. I don't consider him a #1 guy. He goes to the Angels now, and I think he's a #3 behind Weaver and Herron. I'm sure Social will love to have those 3 guys, and you add Santana into that. But I was a little bit intrigued by talking to him. He's an interesting guy. On the day he gets $77.5 million from the Angels, still pining for New York a little bit there, saying who wouldn't want to be a Yankee? I'm sure the Yankees are happy to hear that, but if I'm the Angels, I'm saying, hey, we're signing your paychecks now. Stare in our direction.